So gentlemen, you got the big cocktail reception. You walk in the door, you got the clothes, you got the beard grooming, you got the hair groomed. But you look around the room and there's a lot of other guys in there that got the clothes, got the beard, got the hair groomed. So what sets you apart? Well, one thing, and that is the details. And what are the details? The accessories. And that's what we're going to go over today. Accessories for the extra large man here on Big Pretty Man. Hi, and welcome back to Big Pretty Man, the channel for the extra large man who wants to live his life large and in charge. I'm your host, Timothy Big Pretty Crowe. I am a wardrobe and lifestyle consultant for the extra large man. Alright guys, in the last videos I have talked about how to dress to give yourself that V shape. I've talked about vests. I've talked about the different types of mods of clothes. I've talked about your grooming. I've talked about your hygiene. So now you're getting ready to step out. But when you step out, today we're going to talk about how to make you step forward ahead of the group. How to make you stand out. And how do you do that? You do that through accessories. And that's what we're going to talk about. But it's not just the accessories. It's about showing some individuality. I worked in one of my jobs. I work a lot of events. And most of those events have been receptions, cocktail parties, and weddings. So I've seen a lot of men dressed up in all different ages and a lot of different situations from all different classes. And it's been a great laboratory for observation. And and I've picked up a lot of different things, both faux pas and some good things. But one thing that I always have come to notice is that so many men now when they go to these events, they look like clones. It's the same skin tight suit. It's the same shaved to the side, pompadour, greased up, gelled hair. The same pocket square, if they wear a pocket square. They all look the same boring tie. They all look exactly the same. It's like somebody's just, you stand there looking at a crowd and it's like, is somebody sitting just pumping these out with a mold? And this is where they're coming out at? Yeah, the thing is, and that's all right if you're a young man, and that's the way fashion goes. Men generally want to look uniform and, and blend in with everyone else. But if you're a big guy, and a big guy that's a little older, you can't have that. You got to stand out. You got to stand above. You've got to, when you walk in the room, you are a presence, and people turn to look, and not turn to look because of your size, but because of your presence. You walk in the door, you own the door. When you walk into the room, that is your room, and and everybody turns to look to you, and those others, that suddenly they don't seem to exist because you're there. And why? Because you're showing something they're not doing, and that's showing some individuality in your dress and in your style. And never lose that. Getting the good suit is one thing, but how you wear it and what you wear with it makes all the difference. And that's where accessories come in. 'Cause you'd be wearing the same suit except for the skinny suit or a black suit. Black suit, I said, don't do it. Don't do it. But when you're wearing your suit, when you wear your suit, and it's well fitted, it's what you're putting with it. And we're going to go over that. We're going to go. Now, the first thing we're going to go over here is going to be the boutonniere, something that's often ignored, in fashion today among men. But it is such a great accessory. The boutonniere, basically in French means button flower. And it dates actually back to at least the 16th century. And it has kind of some really bad medical opinion and superstition history. Originally, it was worn at weddings and events. Flowers are worn at weddings and events to ward off both bad spirits and to ward off disease. Because in medieval times, they believed that all diseases, this is before they knew about viruses and they knew about bacteria, all diseases, they believed, came from what was known as miasma, which is a Greek word meaning bad air. and therefore, there was this bad air that would cause disease. Therefore, if bad smells and stench and air pollution, which is literally what miasma means, was causing disease, then things that smelled sweet and nice warded off disease. So therefore, people wore and carried flowers. In fact, that's where we get in the old nursery rhyme about the black plague. Ring around the rosies, pocket full of posies. Because then people would carry flowers, they thought they warded off the plague. Didn't work, but it did become a fashion thing. So men started wearing, for weddings, boutonnieres in their lapels, the flowers in their lapels. So, and of course, later on, this became the Romantic period in the 19th century really picked it up. And putting flowers in your lapel was just very much the in-fashion thing to do. Now, the problem with boutonnieres nowadays is that you only seem to see them in two places: weddings and the prom. Which usually especially for the prom's not the best example. And they're usually some sort of elaborate flower with some with some decorations with it, and which is a shame, because it is such a wonderful statement that pops out. You'll notice in literally or almost every single one of my videos so far, I'm wearing a boutonniere. As I am now. It makes it stand out. Now, boutonnieres usually go in your lapel, just on your left side, just above where your pocket is on your jacket. Now, it's something I would highly recommend that you use in every outfit, because when you walk into that room with all those suits of people wearing the exact same things, I promise you, unless you're at a wedding, I promise you, if you walk into into the cocktail reception at work, nobody's going to be wearing a boutonniere but you, and it's going to make you stand out, and not in a bad way. Always try to coordinate them with your outfit. If you notice, like me right now, I'm wearing a navy jacket, I'm wearing a white shirt, and I have a tie that has white, blue, and yellow in the details. Well, orange, if you look on the color wheel, is is the complement, the color for blue. So, being as I also have yellow in here, I'm wearing a boutonniere that has a combination of the complementary color with blue and also yellow to kind of match with the tie. So, and it works. You want to take those type of things in consideration, and that's true of all accessories. You want to make sure that what you're wearing stands out and is also blended. It has to work with your outfit, and that's something we'll go into a little more. It's not just putting on the clothes. Things have got to work together. This got to be a symbiotic relationship between your shirt, between your tie, between your pants and your jacket. They've got to complement and contrast. They've got to work together. If they don't, it's dead. And it's easy to make a mistake. So, just like this example I've given with the boutonniere and the tie, and the jacket, you see how that works. And it takes a little practice. You're going to make mistakes. Expect that. But you will start. The more you do it, it's one of those things. Practice makes perfect. The more you're going to get it. Also, we can see that there's also, I have the same thing going on with my pocket square. Pocket square, it's got the white, which complements the shirt, but it's also got a contrasting red, which that kind of sets it off. Once again, you got to put all this stuff together like this. Now, with boutonnieres, if you can use real flowers, that's always great. But of course, there's a shelf life for that for the day. They start to wilt, and all of that's okay for like certain events if you have that opportunity. But most of the time, you're going to be safer using artificial flowers, and most of them are made out of silk product. So if you So, and you can find some really good ones. Now, ones that I would recommend, they're very expensive, is from Fort Belvedere, which is run by Gentleman's Gazette, Raphael Schneider. But they are probably the best boutonnieres that you can get on the market. And they can run around $30, $35 a piece. Now, if you can't afford that, there are cheaper versions. You can, just make sure that that you see them, that they're made out of a good material like silk or linen, and that they don't look, and that the colors look natural and they don't look too carnivalish, unless it's a carnival thing you're going for. So that's my advice on boutonnieres. Now I'm going to talk a little bit just about pocket squares. Pocket squares, they also have a bit of a history. They're just basically what started as a handkerchief that went in your front pocket. Men used to carry handkerchiefs in their sleeves, especially in the French court, because at one point bathing was seen, because of the miasma. They thought it opened up your pores, but they thought that taking a bath would open up your pores, and therefore the polluted air could get into your pores and make you sick. So for a long time, from the Middle Ages up until well toward the Renaissance, bathing was seen as something that can make you sick. So a lot of people, didn't bathe very often. So when you went to one of these parties, the funk had to have knocked you down, especially in the summer. Can you imagine, with all those clothes on like the 16th century? So a lot of men would wear a handkerchief, and you'll see them in the movies, with their handkerchiefs, that they would pull out and put over their mouths and over their nose. Usually they had a little bit of cologne in them, so that just to get past the stench of rotted ass in the room. I can't imagine, between ass and feet and breath and all that, whoo, I'm sure they needed it. But of course we don't need that much anymore. And it finally evolved into just a nice complementing handkerchief that went into your pocket. Now, it always sets apart. There's a lot now. I will say there's a lot of people that don't like the pocket square. I think they're old-fashioned, that they're going out. Yeah, you can toss that right out, because without it, it's just a plain suit. You need something to give a statement in what you're wearing. It's not just putting on the suit. It's not just putting on the clothes. It's got to say something. It's got to express who you are. It's got to have some pop. I mean, not just the tie, but the accessories. So, the boutonniere and the pocket square are really going to do that. And the beautiful thing about pocket squares is there's so many different ways to fold them. Now, the one I have here is what's known as a presidential, or the TV box fold. And this one's a little more of a conservative, straightforward. However, there are a lot of different folds out there for a pocket squares. And I think for any suit you put on, you should wear a pocket square. I see very few opportunities when you shouldn't wear them. In fact, even if you're just wearing your vest, a vest, if it has a pocket, you don't really put a boutonniere on, but if it's got a pocket, you can put you can put a pocket square in there, and I think that you should. You should look at one of my last videos. I was wearing a vest, and I had on a pocket square, and it worked just fine. Now, as far as the pocket square goes, there are different sizes of pocket squares. You need to get the larger ones that can actually fit inside of your pocket, because the problem if you get a smaller one is they start working down. The more you look around, it'll disappear in your pocket, and you don't want that. So you want one that's big enough that it will stay in your pocket. Other thing is to pick the right materials. You don't want it to look cheap. Stay away from polyester. Stick with linen, silk, maybe wool. Those make the best pocket square, especially linen. Linen's got a little more grip, and silk, especially if it's a rough silk, it has a lot more pop. This particular one is linen. So, and as far as folds, you're like, I don't know how to fold that. You know what? I'm going to show you two simple folds. And actually three, because one of them you can actually apply to two different ways. All right, so I'm actually going to pull this out. It's my pocket square, and I'm going to unfold it here. And I want to show you the one that I had, and that is the presidential. You take it and you fold it in half. Fold it in half again. It's not too hard. Now, for it to fit in your pocket, you need to do another fold like that. And to make it fit, you want the hemmed side out, standing out. You're going to have to like fold it in a bit so it'll fit in your pocket, and then just stuff it in. And then kind of adjust it from there. And you want it to stand out about a quarter of an inch. That's about right. And bam, you got it. And here's the thing is, be like, well, it doesn't look perfect. It should not look perfect. If it looks perfect, then it looks like those man-made, you know, those fake ones, pre-folded and pre-sewn pocket squares, and those things are the devil. They're ugly. They look like you don't know what you're doing. They're too uniform. A little bit of ununiformity shows that it's been done by hand. It looks so much better. It looks so much more authentic. It lends a touch of class. Stay away from them fake, perfect triangle ones that they're sewn together and you just stick in your pocket. Gag. Fold your own pocket square. Now that's one. You saw it. It's pretty simple. Fold it in half 3 times, adjust it, and stick it in your pocket. Now, and I'll tell you another way. There isn't really a wrong way to do a pocket square. Only wrong way is if you get it too small one, it falls your pocket. So I'll take this back out, and I'll show you a puff fold. Now, puff fold is easy. Pull it out like this. Go in the middle. Pinch it like that. Take your hand, slide it down to the way you want it, like that. Okay, notice you got a puff now. Looks like a little ghost. Now give it a half twist. Now take it, turn it up like that in the back, and stuff it in your pocket. And then when you get it in your pocket, adjust the puff the way you want it. Bam! I've got a puff. Now, actually, I would probably not use the white one as a puff. I could, but with that red border, I want to show that off. So, what I would do would be what is called the reverse puff. The reverse puff goes like this. Put it in the middle, same procedure. Slide your fingers down it, get you a good puff to where you want it. Do a twist, but this time turn the top part under. So now you got this. Yeah, so now you take, and you want it to be a little ruffled. You stuff it down in your pocket. Do your little adjustments the way you want it. A little tuck, a little pull here or there. Get it situated. Bam! Look at that. Huh? Yeah, that works. A little imperfect, but you got the corner sticking up. It's that simple. But at the same time, I could turn around and twist it and actually stuff it in both ways. I've actually done that. Do a puff at the top. Play with it. Be individual. As long as it looks good, hey. So I could do that. I see Steve Harvey do this a lot. So you get a little bit of a puff and a little bit of a poke. That works. A little big out of the pocket. You can always stuff it down in. My point is that you can make this thing give it your own individual twist, and that's what accessories really are all about. Now, outside of the pocket square and the boutonniere, the other things we want to look at is what you're wearing on your wrists. Yeah, that's right. So, of course, you want to be wearing a nice watch, as well as as good a watch as that you can possibly afford. Of course, watches can run into the multiple thousands to the point of ridiculous, in my opinion. But it definitely is a status symbol, and we're going to go into watches in another video. But another thing that's really become popular lately has been the beads, the bracelets, and all kinds of different bracelets, whether they be leather, whether they be the beads like these. I've actually really liked them. I think that they bring a little extra. A little extra individuality, a little extra, pop to whatever you're wearing. You know, so you're talking, they're going up. People are going to look, and like these particular ones, if you look, have little turquoise skulls. I got it at the Day of the Dead celebration. I thought they were kind of cool. And even on this one, I've got, you know, some little small beads. You know, they're not too ostentatious. This is a little bold, but you know, they do catch people's eye and attention, and it gives you a little bit of a signature. It gives you a little bit of identity. It removes you from that, you know, the suit clones. You know, suddenly you're wearing something different. So another thing that I'd point out, speaking of timepieces, something that I wear, and it's become a signature to me, guys, most people that know me, is I also wear the pocket square. I wear the pocket watch. Now with the chain. Now you may be saying, pocket watches with a chain. You know, that's old fashioned. What is this, 1850? But you know what? This was high into fashion even up until the 1920s. The men wore these, and they've been worn off and on, especially in England. And they're still not completely something that's outside the lines of modern fashion. They've had a modest comeback. I think that's a good thing, because back in the day, before the wristwatches become popular, men wore pocket watches. Women were wristwatches, and they were seen as a very feminine trait. You know, these little cute little watches that women would wear. Men wore a pocket watch. You know, it was much more masculine. You know, much more down to business. You know, but then of course over time the wristwatch started becoming, especially after World War I, the wristwatch started becoming more popular because they much more easier to carry in war than a pocket watch. So, and after World War I, even though some men still wore them well up into the 20s, the wristwatch started taking over. However, I like to wear it. It stands out. It gets attention. It sets me apart from the suit clones at the reception party. People will walk up and give you comments. Hey, is that a real watch? Does it really work? I'm like, oh yeah, see, you want to see it. It takes the time and all of that, you know. So it makes you, and everything that makes you stand out in a good, positive way that gets you compliments, that's a good thing. Now, I mentioned that this is a signature thing, and it's good to kind of set up something that may be a little faux pas, may be a little unconventional, but it sets you apart. Something that makes you stand out as an individual, makes a personal statement, and this is mine. I usually wear both a wristwatch, and I wear a pocket watch. Why? Well, it's because of a certain belief I have about wristwatch. Wristwatch right now, of course, as you know, they're extremely expensive. They can run into the multiple thousands of dollars. They become such a statement. But in truth, the wristwatch is today, it's not utilitarian. It is purely jewelry and nothing else. Yes, you can tell time with them. But in truth, you know, you have to set the time. And that was good up until even the 80s and the 90s, even the early 2000s. But now, every single one of us are carrying a device everywhere we go that keeps absolute perfect time all the time. Your smartphone. And we're all carrying them. So really, they've made wristwatches, unless they're little smart watches, obsolete. So at this point, if you're wearing a wristwatch, it's just jewelry. Unless you're working a job that will not allow you to have your cell phone or your smartphone on you at work, it's pretty much just jewelry. And if it's jewelry like earrings or finger rings, do you wear just one? No, they become a fashion statement. They become jewelry. So therefore, I want to wear a watch that's useless other than a statement, and a pocket watch which is useless other than jewelry. So that's become my signature piece. And actually, if you notice, that just starts a conversation. If somebody says, why do you wear both? Well, now I've just got a conversation going at the party. Bring out your individuality in what you're wearing. Don't be a suit clone. Suit clone, no. Individual, yes. That's what makes you a large and charged man and makes you rule the room. That's all right. So that's about all I've got for you this time. And of course, I'm going to go over some more about certain accessories later on, especially with watches and rings. So stay tuned to it. And if you're enjoying, like I said, if you're enjoying the content, if you're enjoying listening to my big mouth, then do me a favor, you know, and hit that subscribe button down here. This King Henry's head, you know, with this King Henry outfit with my pretty head. And give me a subscribe. Also, if you got any questions or any comments, shoot me a line down below. I do read them, you know, and give me a like. And until next time, stay pretty.